If you haven't seen it already, it's on the YouTube page, the Pasta to Go YouTube page. That's the number 2 for the peace sign. Lahaina on Fire Volume 1. Lahaina on Fire Volume 2 is coming out any day now. We have cut it down. One of the great interviews we have. We've also have her here today to talk about what is going on. Representative Elle Cochran is with us. She is the state representative for the city of Lahaina. Elle Cochran, thank you so much for joining us today.
Aloha. Thanks for having me. Always excited to talk about the town.
Well, I mean, I know it's hard to say excitement, right? Because I'm still talking to a lot of people out there. Now, your legislative session just broke. You were out there for quite some time. I read in the USA Today as I was traveling over a week ago, and you were all in this. There's a lot of the same rhetoric we heard from COVID. If we only knew then what we know now, right? It's so many things would have been different. I don't accept a lot of these reports. It says reports cite preparation, communication failures. It's saying that they just got caught with their pants down, that too many things happened that were outside of their control. But next time, Representative Cochran, next time we'll be ready. What are your thoughts initially, and what do you have to say to those who say next time we'll be ready?
Well, God forbid there be a next time. And currently, if something broke out right now as I speak, as I sit in my house, only a block from the actual burn zone, we would be in the same predicament. There's no evacuation routes. The tall, dried grass where the original pole fell down, sparked, and lit the town on fire is overgrown again. It's turning into summer. Everything's dried, and it's all fire fuel right now. I don't see anything that's changed. I don't see any mitigation efforts that have happened at all. And I don't even know if water's coming out of the hydrants yet. And I am not confident that we are prepared or even taking any efforts to get prepared.
Okay. So let me just really quickly, before I let my partner jump in, because I'm so anxious to know. He was out in Hawaii not too long ago. He got to do some work on the ground too as well. One of the things that shocked me, Representative Cochran, and you're all over our movie, when it comes to Lahaina on Fire Volume 2, we've actually taken your interview and spread it throughout the whole movie because you talk about all the factors that are involved. One of the factors that are involved are the cleanup process itself and making sure that we're prepared the next time, God forbid, this does happen. Those are two areas I'd like to get your comments on. Number one, how could we not have this area even remotely cleaned up? I tried to ask the governor. I tried to reach out to the mayor. We're not getting answers. It still looks like Hiroshima. It still looks like Nagasaki. Where's the Army Corps of Engineers to get this place cleared up? And how could we not have an evacuation plan in play? Who is the one responsible for this? Who was dragging their feet?
Yeah, that's a lot of people I feel are dragging their feet. And the cleanup, I just came from the burn zone. Actually, the flowers you see, I went to pick these flowers from the graveyard at Waiole Church that I caretake. And there's efforts here and there, but I mean, we're coming up on 9 months later. Not one home has been built. Everyone's griping and saying, why can't I go back to my property? And so the efforts, I don't really see it in full force. We should already, 9 months later, we should have a lot of things built back. And we're just continuously moving debris here and there. And, my biggest question about this debris removal, I've seen them. They line these big semi beds with this plastic liner, like a really huge sheet of plastic. So don't tell me that when you start dumping rebar and jagged glass and some, part cement and metal and everything that and I don't know how do they just tie it up in a big twist tie when they toss it into the landfill? I mean, all those sharp objects have to tear that plastic open. I don't see how that is holding all that debris in. I'm yet to get a tour. I want to see it from start to finish, how it actually, pans out. But it's just on a lot of levels. I think people are wondering, why is it still a big lockdown, guarded zone? People should be able to go in. I mean, not just, looky-loos and selfie Facebook stuff, but to go and work on their properties and to get back. Infrastructure should have been done already. And a lot of people are saying they can't get permits because there's no infrastructure. Well, whose fault is that? Where is the government? Laying it all out again.
I'd like to chime in here, Representative Cochran. Thanks for taking the time with the conversation. Matt Weinglass with the Homeless Left. We were out in Lahaina. We wanted to go see for ourselves, just as Pasta has been there, to try and get this story from the ground. And it was unbelievable going there and getting into the burn zone and looking at the debris. We were there in January. I believe it was just remarkable at the way they were keeping so many secrets there. They were very secretive. Like, you couldn't talk to anyone. We were trying to look and see what was happening. One thing that reminded me, I wanted to ask you about this, because we're thinking about the health of the people, of the residents, and we kind of we were having conversations with people that were kind of reminiscent of 9/11, where you had this like contamination, people getting sick. Years go by. I mean, we're not at that point yet. Years going by. But have you looked into that? Is there anything going on with what's in the air? What are people breathing, especially if they're like one block away? And I'll piggyback on that just so people know that haven't been out there to see it. It's so bizarre to me, the dimension of it. Like, if you do a bird's eye view of it, what areas got hit, what areas didn't. It's so bizarre to me. And some of the structures are still up. And we looked at some of that. We kind of got out and looked at it closely. But I don't know if I want to point it to you, because what is the kind of the sentiment right now about that? Are people there? Are they worried about what they're breathing in? I mean, we'll just start with that.
Well, the monitors have proven the air quality is fine. The nearshore waters are fine. The actual potable water, they're still testing. So, I mean, there's water flowing, but I don't drink it. I don't know when I will end up feeling confident enough to actually drink the water. And also, there was a report, I don't know if it was an official report or what, but it's been said that because the fire had burned so hot, so unnaturally hot, that a lot of the dioxins and the contaminants and things that we were afraid would be in the soil and everywhere had vaporized. Basically, it had burned so hot that all these chemicals supposedly had just burnt up and went up into thin air and just vaporized, and it's not there anymore. That's what they're saying with the soils, I believe. And the air monitors have been proven good. I've been in the zone since day one, and people were, you shouldn't go there. Oh, your health. And till today, I feel fine. I mean, I think I look fine. And for me, it's like, I always, I'm taking my own life into, I'm risking my own self. No one's forcing me to be there. I choose to be there. I choose to be in the zone and breathe what I breathe and touch what I touch. So personally, I'm okay with it. And I heard that things got burnt off and vaporized, and it's not as bad as they thought.
Do you have a follow-up, or should I go on to my next question?
Let's go on.
All right. So let's talk about the small homes, right? Our good friend Alfie was going to, at your distribution center, set up these dome-like homes. It was a great, I think, Band-Aid solution to keep Hawaiians in Hawaii, because what is Hawaii without Hawaiians? We're hearing news that there's almost like a family every day that's leaving Maui, and that's really, really sad. The energy there, the history there. I mean, it was my first time in Maui when I went there 30 days after the fire, and there's something special there, and this is a shame. There seems to be so much red tape when it comes to getting these tiny homes up. In fact, my last time there, when I was there 100 days after the fire, when I was going to the airport, I saw a stack of those tiny homes just on the side of the road. Alfie's, our good friend, Rebuild Maui. If you haven't checked out his Instagram, please go do that. He got shut down from the homeowners associations. You've even talked about, and people will get to see this in the next video coming up, there's land there. There's a lot of land that you could just start putting up homes. We can keep Hawaiians in Hawaii. It hasn't happened. They blame the red tape. They blame the homeowners association. I blame the governor. Is it right to point the finger at the governor, the mayor right now, the county, for not allowing tiny homes to get up to keep people on Maui there? Or do you have another explanation which you can throw out to the crowd and explain why we can't get these tiny homes up to keep Hawaiians in Hawaii? Go ahead, Ellie.
Yeah, no excuse. No excuse for that. Yeah, the names you dropped totally are at fault, I believe. They are dragging their feet. They are putting up the roadblocks. And personally, people are allowed, it's their private property, they're private landowners, and they should be able to get back to their property. Whether you want to build on your current footprint that you originally had, or you want to put up a tiny home on wheels. Wheels would be nice. You can drive away from the tsunami or fire coming at you, and some people, that's all they can afford at this time too. So I don't know. I mean, I don't understand. Yes, I do not understand. There's a bill that went through the ledge, and it's about pretty much forcing down the throats of the county to do a law and ordinance, what have you, to allow 2 ADUs or accessory dwelling units, we call them ohanas, on a residential lot. That sounds good in and of itself because we want to build more, but that is just cramming. I mean, dependent on the lot size, obviously. But the section in Lahaina, I don't know if you had a chance to go there, where the brunt of the people perished and were like trapped, had no any way out. And therefore, that was the brunt of all the people who died right behind the mill, the smokestack, the old mill there. And those homes were so close together. The lots were tiny, the roads are small, and we can't rebuild this way, And so for me, perhaps putting smaller dwellings on lots to have more space in between, and probably more foliage, or at least, more roadway for evacuation routes, because that was the point. They were landlocked in a sense, and not enough space to, we had a bypass that was supposed to build out down there. That's another county didn't do. So that would have definitely saved lives. But yeah, you're right. I'm trying to work with the new group called Four Leaf. They've been hired by the county here to start expediting permits. They so far have 40 permit applications. They say that they can get you through the process within a couple weeks, and they are. But at the end of the day, where's our contractors? Where's our builder? Where's the infrastructure and all that? But the thing is, we can still live on a piece of land without infrastructure. I've lived off the grid for 27 years. Rain catch, solar, generator. You can have a composting toilet. You can have, we have porta potties. We got water buffalo for potable water. There are ways to do this. People can get back to their lands.
I want to provide a little context really quickly, Ellie, because I did talk to you 100 days after. This is a quick follow-up, and then we can, if Steph is there, we can bring her in if she's ready. If not, we'll just continue to go. But really quickly, Ellie, when I talked to you 100 days out, now you are the state representative for the city of Lahaina, correct? Right?
Yes.
You had spoken to the mayor maybe 2 times. Have you
Yes.
spoken to him more now that we go almost 6 months down the road? Are you in contact with the mayor? A lot of people talk about him being a native, being of the people. Has he come around? Have you spoken to him? Because I would think that he would be texting with you on a regular basis, calling you on a regular basis. Have you had any more communication? Because I did meet you at your distribution center in Lahaina, where you had FEMA representatives there, you had people in the community, you were not hiding, you were front and center. So I would like to say that Ellie was there. She was not hiding. The mayor, you got to track him down. You got to have your own Secret Service to find this dude over here sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you had any connection with this guy? Has he upped it up at all?
No. Still, when I told you that 100 days in, when I met you, 2 sentences, still the current count on dialogue with that man still. And besides that, back in November, December, when we were on the finance committee for the state, we were vetting through the departments. And of course, the administration, the governor's office had to be, came down for the budget, and the governor himself came down, and I vetted through his travels to Lahaina. At that point, it was 33 trips he had made. And not once did he come to say hi, check in, anything like that. I know there's a lot going on, but I mean, as you state, I am the state representative for the area. I've lived here all my life, almost 60 years now. I was 8 years the West Maui County Council member and chair for infrastructure. So there's a little bit that I know about this town, And so till today, so I told the governor, I said, Governor, I noticed that you had traveled to Lahaina 33 times. I am so sorry. We have not been able to connect with each other. We haven't had a chance to, talk, me and talk story about what our future of Lahaina and things. And he got pretty upset and hot under the collar. Until today, still not one word till today. And it's not me lack of trying to, exert myself and send emails and send. I mean, I did get a text message that was pretty telling, that as long as I do what he says, I can get whatever I want. I'm not selling my soul. I'm not doing that.
To me, it sounds like the communication disconnection seems to be maliciously on purpose. I can't imagine that people are that accidentally that wired not to have conversations like this that need to happen, especially so long after this, that we haven't seen any move to kind of put stuff back together. And I know a lot of locals there they've had it conveyed to us that they don't believe that the rebuild will even happen, just based on the landscape right now. And that's very
and this is the state representative for Lahaina. I got off a plane. I went to Lahaina, and Elle Cochran was there at her distribution center.
Good.
How could the mayor or the governor not be in touch on a regular basis with this woman?
Yeah.
No.
It's crazy.
I just met Luke Myers the other day. There was a groundbreaking down the road here for 450 temporary homes. Temporary. So, I mean, it just... And Luke Myers is like the office for the disaster preparedness, something office for the governor. And I've only met him last week for the first time. And so that's how, I mean, I feel like on purpose, they are dragging their feet. So people do leave. I don't know. So people from the outside with a lot of money can buy up the properties and move in. I mean, yeah, talk about changing our culture and the climate and environment. There will not be Lahaina. It will not be Hawaii, in a place where what we love and what people love about us anymore, the aloha, right? And so I feel like at this point, something is going on to where on purpose, things are just being, not pushed forward. And so it's sad. It's frustrating. And I'm downright pissed off about it, actually. And a lot of people are too.
And we are too, especially at the Homeless Left. And our co-host, Stephanie Perucci, who helped get our attention on this way early, like the day after this happened. We've been on it ever since. And I appreciate her insight and thoughtful, investigation into this matter and helping us get to the bottom of this. So Stephanie's with us right now. Let's bring Stephanie in. I know you're in the car right now, but I know I'm just happy you're able to check in with us, Stephanie, when we had Ellie on here with us. Can you hear us, Stephanie?
I'm a huge fan. Ellie's in my new book. You're in the introduction, and then we devote a lot of time to some of the work you've done. I loved the work the message you had for Roseanne, as well as for Michelle Melendez. So I'm a huge fan. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here, you guys.
Absolutely. And, just aligning with people that want to have the conversations, right? Want to engage and discuss and figure out what's missing and fill in those missing gaps. That's what we need. We need more of that. We need more people that are on this show with us right now and then are out there, I guess. Hopefully that's more contagious and stuff. But yeah, Stephanie's new book is, you're getting more into this situation with the team you're with now. So I'm excited. I'm excited that that's happening. Yes. You want to tell us about that real quick, Steph?
Yeah, I mean, when we were getting people from all over Hawaii to sign and to provide public testimony for SB 3381, I was doing a little bit of a radio tour on all the islands to get Hawaiians involved with just speaking out and saying, no way, you've got to put this on the shelf. It's way too fast. We don't have, a lot of faith in this 9-person Lele group that was going to have unbelievable power and the ability to take a lot of a lot of, frankly, based off what was written in the bill. And so when I did the radio tour to get people excited to oppose the bill, one of the radio hosts said, I would love for you to help me with my next book. I have no idea what to do. And I'm like, well, I'm a publisher. And so Tracy Derwin, Brush Junkie on YouTube, and Michelle Melendez, who's on Big Island, and I have been working around the clock for a couple months on finding everything we can to help Hawaiians under what power they have, because a lot of people are feeling powerless. Matt mentioned a moment ago, a lot of people don't think the homes will be rebuilt. And so we see such urgency in the community, and a very strong community of people saying, I don't what the governor is proposing. We need to take this into our hands as a community. And so that's the goal of this book, is to help people understand what they can legally do, what they can file, how they can show up. And we're also going through, of course, all of the terrifying anomalies of the including things that we have from meteorologists, and we got the missing satellite images. It's just really terrifying stuff that we think alludes to a land grab and a planned event.
You know, let's stay on that a little bit too as well, Ellie, because my question is, she had mentioned to how you can legally fight back, but that is something I've also wondered as well from the mindset of a lot of the people I met in Lahaina. They were very concerned. They knew that Governor Green had talked about at the UN as a keynote speaker as a 15-minute sustainable city. I've seen a lot of people, you know, that you wouldn't look at them and say, well, you look like a conspiracy theorist. But it's really hard to say this stuff is a conspiracy theory, right? We have the sheriff who happened to be the sheriff for the Vegas shooting, also the sheriff of Maui, of this fire. A lot of people said he was on island, but nobody knew where he was at. How are people dealing with some of the stuff that Stephanie just mentioned as far as being able to fight back? And how are they approaching it at some of these city council meetings where you say, listen, why are you hiding the images from some of the meteorologists we're getting? What is going on? What actually caused this fire? Where are people at nowadays? Because I have also seen people, Ellie, correct me if I'm wrong, just been beat over the head so much time with all this stuff, they've just thrown in the towel and they're accepting anything that is told to them by their representatives, including Mayor Bison and Josh Green.
Yeah, well, there's several law firms that are taking, you know, HECO, Hawaiian Electric Company, the government to the mat right now, and rightfully so. So here's the biggest, the hugest, I don't know, conspiracy, whatever this is, but basically are the biggest money bills that passed the ledge, you know, 2 weeks ago? In the first sentence, somehow, I don't know how I didn't catch this, but it states that the legislature finds that the cause of the fire, the Lahaina wildfire, was due to the winds of Hurricane Dora. And it's like, no, it wasn't. The winds did not start the fire. And the governor comes over here the other week and does the groundbreaking for those 450 homes. And he says, I'm so happy to be here to house the victims of the wind. Victims of the wind, they were burned to death, you know? And so a spark had occurred. The wind exacerbated and spread the fire, yes, but the wind did not cause it. And now in all of our legislation, that narrative has been inserted. They're literally, legally, in law, trying to change the history and the reason for the fire. Like, they're taking the electric company out of the picture. They're taking any government out of the picture. And they're saying it was an act of God. It was wind from Hurricane Dora. That is bull. That is bull, and I don't agree. And that is why the bills had so much money for Lahaina. I had to support it. But I voted WR, which I can't stand because it's like wishy-washy. It's with reservations. I'm with reservations because of the point that thank you for the money, but no thank you. And I do not agree with that sentence at all. And I will go down in history saying that to my dying day because it's incorrect. And they're trying to change the history and the narrative right now.
Yeah,
And it's
it would
wrong.
make a lot of sense if they were just trying to separate the money, what it's used for, than the actual causes. Another thing that people complained about, Ellie, not only was the fact that, you know, they didn't agree on what was going to start the fire. They had a lot of questions. We had talked about Lahaina, the water diversion for years that turned a once beautiful capital of Hawaii before it was colonized, before the kingdom was taken away. Lahaina was that capital, and it was green and it was beautiful. Years of water diversion, which turned it brown, which presented the environment for it to be a matchbox and turn out there. But a lot of people, Ellie, were also pissed off with that count, with the death count. They said, no way. This is terrible. This is awful. I know you did a lot of work on the children. People questioned the children that were sent home. But we saw a lot of, and I don't remember the word, Ellie, that you used for uncle and aunt, the older people, the generation. When I went up there to look at the pictures over there, and I counted 135 pictures over there. That's without the people missing. That death count was under 100. Have we had any movement there too? And Matt, do you have anything
I'm
to
just
say
going to
about that?
piggyback on that question and just say, look, when I look at this number fluctuating, it's going in the wrong direction. I've never seen anything like this before with any other, cleanup, any other disaster. How does a number go down? And it reminds me, like, it sounds like somebody who's trying to, like, fudge the scale. Like, hey, how much you weighing? Oh, just under. I want to keep it at the 2 digits. I didn't make it to, you know what I mean? It seems like it's not very honest. And it doesn't, I don't think it presents that way. If it is honest, they should know it's not looking that great, because we have people we've talked to that we know that, like, that there's still people missing. We know that. So, like, how is this number going down? And how are they then pretending, we're at 100, like Pasta said, it went to 99, 98. There was, we found one more. And then I read the local blurb on that in February with, like, we got one more and now we're done. That's the end of it. How do you take that? What do you make with that? Because it doesn't look good from this vantage point that number goes in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I from day one, I've not agreed with the numbers they've been tossing out there. And like you said, the number went down. I'm like, that's impossible. There's a video out from ABC News. They had come to interview me the other day, and there's a little blurb out. And they interviewed a couple down the road who said just within his neighborhood, 19 of his neighbors perished. 19. That's just like right there. The homes right around his one home. That's 19 alone. So what? And I don't agree. And I don't know why. I think they're just minimizing just to not, you're not going to take away the trauma. You're not going to take away the feeling of loss and that everyone has and the grief by dropping a number down. I mean, be real. And I've never agreed with that. And I
Is
don't
that
know
dropping that number so that therefore they can keep Maui open, or they just, what are your reasons now that you've had some time to stew on that, on why they're keeping that numbers down? There's people out there that say there's reasons they don't want to bring much attention to it. They don't want to let everybody know that this is a disaster. They're trying to downplay it so they can keep Maui open. And that also leads to the next question. In my video, Lahaina on Fire Volume 1, we went to Hana. We went to the opposite side of the island. We showed a lot of people who were dependent on tourism. Now, whether we like it or not, Maui depends on a lot of tourism. And I thought the governor sent the wrong message by saying that the whole island is closed. Maybe he should have said, go to Hana, go to Paia, go to these other areas that are not Lahaina, stay out of Lahaina because they're mourning right now. But the island is open and they need your help more than ever. So what are your thoughts as far as people going to vacation there? But why? First, why do you think they're downplaying the number of people dead so much?
Yeah, I think, the minimizing to just say we took care, it's minimal, it looks horrible, the destruction, but the body count's not as much as we thought, thankfully, whatever. I have no idea why. And a lot of people say, well, Ellie, don't you think if there were people unaccounted for, that the families of those people or friends or neighbors of those families would be saying something? I'm like, but maybe they all are gone. There's no one there to speak up for them. Maybe they're undocumented and they don't want to come out, and there's a lot of that. Yeah. And so I don't know what the reason is, but till today, all the missing out to sea, those aren't accounted for, guaranteed. So I can't even answer. I don't know why. I don't know
Okay.
why. And I never
Do
agreed with
people
that.
come vacation there now? What's the message for those
Yes.
who are still mourning in
Yeah.
Lahaina? What do you say to them?
Well, I mean, people I feel are being respectful. You know, you always get a few in the bunch, right? A few bad eggs in the bunch, but yeah, and the rest of the island is open. South Maui, like you mentioned, Hana, right? On the other side, go up country to Makawao and the crater and other places. So people are welcoming. The cruise ships have been coming back to Kahului Harbor, so those have come back. So I mean, our town is thriving as best as it can, but it's just the historic district of Lahaina is still a lockdown. It's still, as like you said, you know, a total disaster burn zone that looks like a bomb hit it and leveled the place. It still is that way. Some of the historical sites, Lahaina Restoration Foundation is working on restoring the historical sites. That's great, because for me, we need to protect the culture. The original, the capital, the royal capital of the Hawaiian Kingdom is Lahaina. And now that literally the slate has been wiped clean, I want to make sure we protect the burials and that's a law, by the way. So now that things are gone, we need to reassess where is everything in regards to our sacred cultural sites and protect those and work out from that. So, you know, that's something that I want to make sure I keep an eye on, and that people don't just ignore it, because you know it can be.
I have another question. How could people help today? When I did Lahaina on Fire Volume 1, I was able to highlight distribution centers, right? Hanakawai, the one on U-Turn Beach. And we were able to get money directly into the hands of people. A lot of people were upset with Oprah. They were upset with Rock. Starting these NGOs that had so many people had to get paid before the citizens get that money. We saw something amazing there. Everybody in Hawaii, everybody in Lahaina pulling together, jet skis coming in from other parts of the island. Red Cross and FEMA were dragging their feet somewhat, but everybody else, the communities came together. What I saw at your distribution center was amazing too as well. It was a shame that got closed down, because that was the one distribution center in Lahaina people can walk down. We talk about that in the movie coming up, so you'll be able to see a lot of information about that. But how could people help today? Not just financially, where they can get money directly into the hands of some people that need it most with going around getting through that red tape, without having to go through other NGOs and other conglomerates that are going to soak up that money and take some of it. But what else could they highlight right now? Because I feel like this story in the media, they're trying to kill it. Yeah, we had it come back to surface in the USA Today when these reports came out. But the reports came out, they quoted Elle Cochran, and they did what they normally do. Let's move along. Nothing to see here. Who cares what's going on? Pay attention to what's going on in Israel, Gaza, as bad as it is, but just forget. Don't forget. It's like Building 7. Forget. What? How could people help directly? And what information do you want the people out there to spread so this story doesn't die, Ellie?
Yeah, you know what? People need to put pressure on the powers that be, the people above me, who are, as we've been mentioning, dragging their feet, and put the pressure and have them answer it, because they're not answering us. They're not answering me. They're not shedding light on exactly what is the plan. What is the plan? That's a good question right now to ask.
What is the plan?
Governor asking, and the people want to know. The people, we who live here, obviously, but everybody wants to know. Oh, sorry. And wait, where are you? Did you disappear?
We're here.
Oh,
we're still here.
I don't know what happened. Something else came on my screen.
Oh, that's okay.
Somebody was calling you with the plan. It was Governor Green. He wanted to tell you what the plan.
Yeah. So a plan, and just be real. You know, all this money went into the budget, and now I gotta trust that the respective programs are going to be implemented. The money's going to go where it needs to go and help who it's supposed to help. But all the billions of dollars that have been infused into Lahaina, where is it? We don't know where it is. Every single home should be rebuilt already. People should be back in their homes. Evacuation routes should be built. And it's none of it. None of it.
Can you provide a little context to that? Because you're talking about money. How much money has gone into Lahaina, and what haven't you seen happen with the money? Just provide a little context, because this is something you talk about in the second movie, right? There's money that is coming from the federal government. There's money that's coming from other areas. But what is not being done to make you go, things that make you go, where's this money going?
Well, I mean, 90 million went to Red Cross from in the beginning. And yet they took away food. They took away lunch, breakfast and lunch from the people housed at the hotels. I mean, where they should be getting fed 3 meals. They shouldn't even be in hotels. And so it's like the infrastructure, the money should go to infrastructure. And just if we divided all the money that has been brought to Lahaina between the 3,200, 3,200 people or 1,500 structures or whatever, it would have been done by now. Because so much money, and it's for temporary this and temporary that. We need permanent. People don't want to just live here temporarily. And so I don't know the grand total, but it's a billion plus, couple billion. I mean, hundreds of millions from the state, right? I think the government put in $1 billion or something, and I don't know how much more after that. But
how much did Oprah and The Rock get in there?
I don't know. I mean, I think people got like $600 checks from them, or $5,000. I forget, $1,500 check or something. Yeah. So I don't know where any of that is, but again, the state has no tracking system for their money. So I can't even figure out where a few $1 million that I put in last year's budget is, or how it got spent.
Wow.
And I just get afraid for the 64 billion or whatever it is that our total state budget is, and how it's going to be utilized. Because again, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It
seems
like this seems like a well-managed, orchestrated gentrification. It seems like, and this is it just from the lack of answers on why there was such a breakdown inside the whole response. You know what I'm saying? What part of the response, after hearing these reports, Ellie, what part of the response to you was the most concerning? In our movie, we talked to Tia Leah, who also Tina does some work with the mosquitoes, out there in, bioengineered mosquitoes, by the way, brought to you in Maui. That's going on. But what part of the whole disaster response failed that caught your eye the most, that is the most concerning moving forward, that might not be addressed in these reports?
I mean, again, it's just the funds. It's like I'm at wit's end to figure out. There's a new Office of Recovery and the county, and they're like, well, we need to figure out who's going to run it, and we need to talk about a plan, but we're not going to do it till July 1st. I'm like, what? It's just the book is appropriate. The title of the book coming up to me, because every day someone is leaving. There's been, I think, over probably by now almost 2,000 families have left, and that was occurring before the fire. And the whole FEMA money to pay people $5,000 for a studio, up to $11,000 for a 3-bedroom house. I don't know how that has helped us. I mean, at the end, rent was already astronomical. When this is all said and done, if ever, no landlord, offshore investor person is going to want to drop back down in pricing for people. That is just never going to happen. So we are already beyond outpriced ourselves. And it's just, again, another point to get people to leave. Another point so people can't afford to live here anymore.
We're running out of time with you, Ellie, but can you please provide a little context to that there? Because what I'm seeing is that they've given Red Cross, they've given FEMA a ton of money to rent out houses, and they've kind of wiggled a carrot in front of the landlord's face. And a lot of landlords have kicked out people that were living there, creating new refugees to get a fire victim in there because they're going to get 3 or 4 times the rent. How do we solve that problem? Is that happening in fact? And how do we solve that problem?
Yeah, good question. How do we solve that problem? I mean, put a law in place that you can't gouge, that you can't overtax people. I don't even know. I mean, right now we passed the bill to convert all the short-term rentals to long-term. We'll see how that pans out. I mean, it was something the county could already do. So I never understood why the state had to create a bill to urge the county to do their job. So we'll see how that one goes. I mean, the chair of the council told me the other day that bill opened up 16 short-term rentals. Okay, great. We worked on this bill for months and we got 16 units available. All right, I guess that's going to help. But it's just, again, so many areas. And I'm back home now. Legislation session is over. So I'll be doing one trip, but I'll be home full time. And I got to just jump back in and start pounding on these doors and get the answers for the people. Because I'm tired. I had to work on a whole other island while all this stuff is going on here at home. And it was just hard for me to do this job long distance. But I'm not long distance anymore. So I finally got all the county people, the officials I need, the infrastructure people, the planners, the Office of Recovery, and all these people to be at the same table. May 22nd, there's a meeting that's scheduled right now. And so that's what we need. Everyone get to the freaking table and get on the same page, right? And walk out of that room with a decision for the people, whether it's about the water, whether it's about the infrastructure, whether it's about permitting, and figure it out. It's not, but everyone's working in all these different silos and separate and not talking to one another. And I'm tired. They're not talking to me, and I'm here with the people. And so that's where I got to insert myself and just bring them to that table. And we need to just figure it out.
Ellie.
This is definitely a team effort to doing this.
Yeah.
It takes a village, as they say, and you're leading the charge. We appreciate it. And we need people to just kind of rewire themselves and take initiative themselves, make those calls, pressure your elected officials, do these things that we are born to do. We shouldn't be afraid to ask questions. And that's what we like to preach on this show constantly, because of these situations like Lahaina. This is the time we need to step up and be proactive and don't be afraid to be called a conspiracy theorist. That's the one thing I can't stand, because it's people asking questions. The reason they're not asking questions, maybe they're afraid for pushback. Ask questions. This stuff looks weird. Ask, make a phone call, a line. So that's how. Yeah.
Ellie, we're out of time. Let everybody know. I'm so sorry, Ellie. Let everybody know where they can follow along, where they can find more information. Thank you so much to you and Stephanie for coming on and talking about this. But as we close out this segment, let everybody know where they can follow along to see what's happening.
All right.
Well,
Ellie,
yes.
Let everybody know where they can follow along and where they can find you.
Well, for myself, I have a cell phone that I'm always on, 808-281-7709 is my cell number directly. And then my email is cochranelle00@gmail. So COCHRANELLE00@gmail.com. And I'll be home and I'll be, responsive. And please chime in and let's talk story. And because it is a collaboration. Whether you live here or you don't, you're a visitor. It does, we all love Lahaina and we all want to make sure that we do right by her and move forward, in the future together. Yeah.
What is Hawaii without Hawaiians? Elle Cochran, Stephanie Perucci, thank you so much for joining us today.